Hi everyone, it's Chrissie and welcome back to another Sims 4 speed build. So today's build is definitely going to be another longer build, so I hope you're settled in with like a drink or something or a snack, because yeah, this video is definitely a bit longer, a bit on the longer side, and I'm already tripping over my words, so that's fun. But yeah, so this is going to be a bit of a longer build. It's a bit of a bigger one as well. Not necessarily in terms of like bedroom, bathroom, but just in the terms of like it's on a little bit of a bigger lot. It's on a 40 by 30 lot, and it's supposed to be a little bit, I guess, grander or fancier is probably a good word to explain it or to describe it, I guess I should say. But yeah, so we're actually building in StrangerVille, and I haven't built in StrangerVille since, I wanted to say like I haven't built in StrangerVille in a while, but that's technically a lie because I just built in StrangerVille the other day. I just did a build in here the other day, which was the Smith family house. That was kind of like a somewhat of a like loose recreation of the Sims 2 Smith family house for the Smith family that I recreated from The Sims 2, like ironically enough. But yeah, that house is actually like right across from this one, because this one is the Roswell family's house. So in case you guys have never played like with StrangerVille or anything like that, I don't know many people that really play StrangerVille. I'm just gonna throw that out there. I don't think a lot of people spend a lot of time in StrangerVille. Funnily enough, it's actually one of my favorite worlds. I love the like desert worlds that we have in The Sims 4, so StrangerVille, Oasis Springs. I would never want to live there myself because I absolutely hate the heat, but it's a very pretty world. It's an absolutely gorgeous world. And the storyline, kind of like the set storyline of StrangerVille, is kind of annoying to me personally. I don't like set storylines that much. But if you just ignore the storyline and just play here like normally, then it's totally fun. It's like really fun. Some of the animations from StrangerVille, from like being infected and all of that stuff, like from the aliens and everything, is like absolutely hilarious. Whenever I see one of those Sims walking around, I can't help but laugh my ass off. It's hilarious. But anyway, so yeah, for those of you that aren't familiar with StrangerVille, the Roswell family is technically in the game, like in like canon, it's said that the Roswell family is one of the oldest families in StrangerVille, and especially Ted's family. So Ted is the mayor, Ted Roswell, and his family have been in StrangerVille for generations. Now, in my head, I just went with that and kind of like ran with it, which I will get to in just a moment. But I do want to say that this build is not just for Ted and his wife. So originally only Ted and his wife Meredith live in the world, and they don't have any family, they don't have any kids or anything like that, obviously, because it's like an EA family. So it's just the two of them, and they live in this huge, like I think 4 or 5 bedroom house. Obviously EA build, so basically an empty 4 bedroom house. But I just decided that instead of renovating that monstrosity, I'm just going to bulldoze it and start from scratch. And I also really wanted to add in more personality. I wanted to make it fit this area a little bit better. So I went with a very, like, I pulled inspiration from a lot of like carpenter Gothic builds and Victorian builds, which is kind of the style that I'm going for in this area of StrangerVille. So this is like the Shady Acres, like way up on the top of StrangerVille. So yeah, I'm trying to go for very like carpenter Gothic Victorian vibes with all of these builds. So very ornate and decorated and all of that stuff. Also quite colorful, so a lot of the sidings are different. At this point we have a red house, we have a yellow one, which is the Smith family house, and then we have this house, which is actually going to end up being green, like a very muted green, but still green. So yeah, that's basically my idea for like this area of the world. All of them are going to have like different like colors. I'm going to do a blue one, and I think I'm going to do a pink one as well. I'm not sure exactly about the last color, because there will be 5 houses in this area. And I already have a blue one planned, but I don't know what color I'm going to make the 5th one. But yeah, I'm still working on that. Anyway, it's totally irrelevant to what we're talking about right now. But yeah, so because they originally only had 2 Sims living here, I wanted to like expand their household a little bit. But I didn't necessarily want to give them kids of their own. So you will notice that on the screen I did put a little picture of them when I started talking about the family. But I did give them 2 kids. So there's 2 kids in the household. There's a child and a toddler. So the child is called Gwen and the toddler is Bonnie. Now, they're not their kids. They're actually Meredith's sister's kids. So in my save file, I did actually go ahead and create a sister for Meredith. I created a sister for her. I gave her a husband, and then obviously she had Gwen and Bonnie were her kids. Now, in my game, I did go ahead and kill off the sister and the husband because storytelling purposes. So basically, they're no longer with us, and Bonnie and Gwen actually went ahead and they came to live with their aunt in StrangerVille. So yeah, that's kind of the idea that I had in my head. So they're technically Meredith's nieces. So yeah, they basically live with their aunt. So that's kind of the story that I had in my head for them. I don't know why Meredith and Ted haven't had, kids of their own. Maybe Ted didn't want any kids. Although I do think he wanted kids. I don't know. Maybe Meredith can't have kids, or, for some other weird reason. Maybe, they've been really focused on their career or whatever. But in any case, they're now raising their nieces. So yeah, that's something that I wanted to play around with a little bit more, because that's not really a family dynamic that I've done a whole lot of in my save file, like having kids being raised by other family, or like I have a bunch of like adopted kids and families and stuff in my save, but I don't really have any kids being raised by other family members. So yeah, I wanted to play around with that a little bit. But yeah, I'm going to like jump around in this voiceover so much because I'm just saying everything as it pops into my head, because I don't want to forget something. So whenever I remember something, I'm just blurting it out randomly. So I apologize if this voiceover is a little bit all over the place. But you will notice that the editing for this video is a little bit different from what I normally do. So normally I try and cut out as few things as possible, especially when it comes to like my process for getting to somewhere, or stuff like that. Usually I'll cut out bathrooms in my builds because they're very rarely interesting. Just random stuff like that I'll cut out. I'll usually cut out maybe like the floor plan if it takes me a while to figure out, or picking wallpapers and stuff like that. But with this build, I actually had over 8 hours worth of footage, and the way I recorded it was I jumped around a lot basically when I was building this, because I built this over the course of a very, very long time. I think I started this build last year, I don't know, maybe like August or something. I don't know. But basically I started this build last year. I got all of the exterior done, like the main house exterior. I got, most of the living spaces downstairs I finished, and then I just stopped. And then when I went back to finish it, like this past week, I was just jumping all over the place because I was, trying to get a feel for the house again, and trying to incorporate different ideas, and just hopping all over the place. And I also jumped from doing the interior to doing some of the exterior to doing the interior. So basically I couldn't split it up into 2 videos. That way I couldn't do an exterior video and then an interior and have 2 separate builds up to show you more of it. So what I actually ended up doing was I actually had to cut out a lot more of the furnishing process than I normally would. So I did cut out a few things from the exterior as well, mainly just picking wallpapers and just random things that aren't super interesting to watch, especially if they're very repetitive things, like putting those ornaments on the roof, for example. That's very boring to watch me place all of those individually. And just random stuff like that. I also end up cutting out a lot of the landscaping on the exterior later on, because there's a lot of landscaping. I did a lot of landscaping with this build, a lot of flowers and greenery and stuff. So it was also very repetitive. I show a little bit of it and then I just cut out the rest. And then on the interior, I also had to cut out a lot of stuff. So I actually had to go through and cut out whole like rooms, which is something I never ever do when I edit, unless it's a bathroom. So like, just be prepared, you're not seeing any of the bathrooms. There's 3.5 bathrooms. So there's a half bathroom downstairs. There's a main bathroom upstairs, which is like basically like the master bathroom. That's an ensuite connected to the master bedroom. Then we have another full bathroom upstairs that's basically for the kids. It's kind of like in between the two girls' rooms. And then we also have another full bathroom outside that's connected to the pool house that I end up building. So that just has a shower, a sink, and a toilet. So that's kind of like a, you know, if you're coming out of the pool and you don't want to go ahead and like go into the main house to maybe get changed or, you know, take a shower or something, wash off the pool water, stuff like that. So that's kind of just like there for that purpose. But yeah, so it's a 3.5 bathroom, 3 bedroom house. So the house has 3 bedrooms upstairs. Obviously the main like the master bedroom. You have a bedroom for Gwen and a bedroom for Bonnie. And then there's also a like office that's actually Meredith's office that I'll talk about a little bit later. That office could be another bedroom, so it could be a 4-bedroom house. There's also a like kind of small-ish playroom upstairs for the kids that's like kind of right off of the main hallway. That could be another bedroom if you wanted to just change out the doors, because I ended up using those like open, I guess kind of like archway doors that came with the industrial kit actually. So I used those doors to lead into the like family room that we're actually working on, or we were working on in just like a second ago. That's off of the kitchen. So we have that family room. We have a greenhouse / sunroom type thing off of the formal dining room as well that also has those doors. But yeah, so there's a playroom upstairs that have those same like open glass doors, like almost French doors type thing. That could be another bedroom as well in case you wanted another, you know, make it like a 5-bedroom house or something. But yeah, so I did cut out a lot of stuff. I ended up cutting out obviously all of the bathrooms. I cut out the sunroom that I mentioned is attached to the formal living room at the front of the house. That's kind of like a modern extension in my mind. So I did cut out me furnishing that. It ended up being basically a greenhouse type thing. So there's a flower arranging table. There's a little like workbench for like woodworking and a couple of flower pots and stuff. So there's basically, I think I actually put like garden planters in there with flowers in them that she would obviously use for flower arranging. I cut that out. I cut out the upstairs playroom that I also mentioned, the kids' playroom. I ended up cutting that out. I ended up cutting out the walk-in closet that I built for the master bedroom. You'll see all of these things in the screenshots, by the way. But yeah, I ended up cutting out the walk-in closet. I ended up cutting out me furnishing like the whole like wrap-around porch that we have wrapping around the house. I cut that out. I also included a kind of like fun secret in the basement. So basically going off of the pool house. So in this house, let me just lay it out for you guys. Like I said, I'm very all over the place. But in this house we have, so I'm just going to list everything that we have. So we have obviously an entryway, again, that you don't see me furnish because I cut it out. But we have an entryway, we have a formal living room or like a formal sitting room. That's actually what we're working on right now. Off of this, we have the sunroom, greenhouse room type thing. And this room also leads through into like kind of like a walkway, entryway type area that goes into the backyard. But we also have the really big kitchen that we've already done. We also have a formal dining room that's just on the other side of the like entryway. So if you walk in the front doors, you have the formal living room on your right and the formal dining room on your left. And yeah, so we have that. We have a little family room that's right off of the kitchen. That's kind of basically like the living room that the kids are allowed in, if that makes sense. So there's a bunch of toys around. That's where the TV is and the game console and, you know, all of that stuff. We also have a laundry area downstairs. So like right off the kitchen we have a laundry area, and then obviously the half bathroom is off, you know, off that area as well. And yeah, that's the whole downstairs. Upstairs we have the landing, we have the kids play area. That's technically a separate room. We also have the office space for Meredith, and then we have the, like, you know, kids bathroom, kids rooms, and then obviously the master bedroom, master bathroom, walk-in closet, you know, all of that stuff. So that's the main house. And then outside we actually have a really big yard space. So we have a pool, we have a little like fire pit, we also have a pool house that I built. So in the pool house they actually have a bar, they have a little like fish tank type thing, a stereo, obviously the other bathroom that I mentioned, and then we also have a hidden bookcase door. Of like inside the pool house we have the hidden bookcase door. That's not really hidden because the bookcase doors in this game look really suspicious. I mean, they don't blend in with anything, so you can obviously tell that there's something hidden behind there, but you know, we're pretending that the Sims don't know that. So yeah, they have a hidden bookcase door that leads to a ladder, and that ladder actually leads into the basement. And then in the basement we have a kind of like office space for Ted. So the office is like the downstairs office, I guess I should say, like the basement office or the basement cave is kind of where Ted does, or like keeps track of all of his kind of suspicious business dealings that like EA also talks about. You know, he's obviously the mayor of StrangerVille, but he's involved in some suspicious things. He was involved in having, you know, the secret lab built in StrangerVille and a lot of the military bases and all of that stuff. So yeah, that's where I thought he would keep track and keep records and all of that stuff of all of, you know, his business dealings and everything that he kind of keeps an eye on and helps with. So in my head, he's very much involved in, you know, everything that's going on in StrangerVille. He knows what's going on. He's very much involved with it as well. He's kind of like working towards the same thing, I guess you could kind of say. So it's not a good thing, but yeah, he's very much involved in it. But yeah, so that's what the basement office is for. And off of the basement office there's a really big kind of like industrial secret lab door that leads to a secret area of the house that I'm not going to talk about because you'll see it in the screenshots if you stick around to the end. So it is in the screenshots. I show off everything that I've mentioned in the screenshots, everything that I've cut out, and all of that stuff will be at the end of the video. So I will also put timestamps in the description as well, in case you want to like jump ahead to the screenshots and skip the rest of this video or whatever. But yeah, that will be there. Everything will be in the screenshots. But yeah, he has a kind of like a secret lab type thing in the basement. That's all I'm going to say because yeah, like I said, in the screenshots, and you can also kind of see it like fly by a little bit once we get downstairs to furnishing his office, because I didn't cut out me furnishing the basement office. I do show that, or like show most of it, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. I edited this last night, and to be honest, when I was editing this, I was really tired. It was like 3 a.m. in the morning, and yeah, it all kind of blurs together in my head. So I'm not 100% sure about everything that I cut out or that I didn't cut out, but I don't think I cut out the basement office. I think I kept it. So yeah, you should be able to see some of the hidden secret areas like fly by as we're furnishing that. But yeah, so that's basically everything that's in the house and everything that I cut out and all of that stuff. Now we've moved on to the kids' rooms, and this is actually going to be Gwen's bedroom, so the child's bedroom. And you'll notice that a lot of the furniture in her room kind of look a little bit more antique-ish. So like the bed and the dresser and, you know, that writing desk that she has as a desk. It kind of looks a little bit older, and it doesn't really look like something a child would pick if they were able to pick stuff. And in my head, that was because a lot of the furniture probably was already here. So like the dresser and the desk and all of that stuff. And maybe Meredith actually furnished this room with like the big items like the bookcase, dresser, bed, the chair by the dresser, the desk and all of that stuff. Maybe Meredith actually furnished this room when she heard her niece was going to come and live with her, that, she furnished the room. And she didn't really give Gwen much of a choice with, what furniture she has in her room. But she did go in and put in a couple of like personal things. So some paintings that look like that actually looks like Gwen painted them. Obviously the clutter and some toys and stuff. And obviously like the pictures and all of that stuff is definitely things that Gwen would have, either like chosen and, had them buy for her, or maybe it's stuff that she brought with her from their old house or stuff like that. But you'll also notice that the kids' rooms aren't super like messy either. There are a couple of things, around and clutter around and all of that stuff. But usually when I do kids' rooms, they're a lot like more messy and kind of like, I don't know, kind of just messy, and there's just more stuff everywhere. But because this house has a dedicated playroom, and it also has obviously the family room downstairs that has a bunch of toys and stuff in it as well, I didn't want to make the bedrooms too cluttered or too messy, just because, they already have all of that stuff in the other areas of the house, and also because I do think Meredith would make sure that they kept their room, that Gwen keeps her room nice and tidy, and obviously Meredith would help, Bonnie keep her room nice and tidy as well, because she's just a toddler. But yeah, so that was kind of my thought process with that. And yeah, so that's why Gwen's, bedroom looks a little bit more antique-ish, and kind of like a lot of the stuff were already here and they're not like brand new or anything. And yeah, so that's basically, the kids' rooms. We've already done the master bedroom. We're going to be doing the office next, I think, like the upstairs office for Meredith. And I did think that office would mainly be like Meredith's space, because in my game, I actually have a whole storyline, not storyline, but I put a lot of thought into like all of their personalities and stuff, which is something I always do for my save file sims. So with Ted, I'm just going to run through like all of their stories with you guys. So the rest of this video is probably just going to be me rambling about, my ideas for these sims. But basically we have Ted, who in like canon, in like EA canon, is the mayor of StrangerVille. And in my head, he's also a retired military, like maybe a general or some high ranking military something. And that's kind of also why he knows about, what's going on with like the military bases and StrangerVille and all of that stuff. So in my head also, because they say that, the Roswell family has been in StrangerVille for generations. So maybe like being mayor and being in the military and all of that stuff is kind of like a family line thing on like Ted's side. So it's kind of like he's followed in his family's footsteps. Maybe his father was mayor or his grandfather, and they have a long line of like military mayor type things, and he's kind of just followed in their footsteps. But obviously he's changed things up a little bit. He's trying to modernize StrangerVille, and that's why he had, the big like secret lab built and all of that stuff. So that's kind of my idea for Ted. And then we have Meredith, who I did have her originally in the food critic career. I don't think she was employed in the EA version of her, but I did put her in the food critic career. And then when I went back in to finish this house, I kind of like had a little bit of a rethink with that, and I took her out of the food critic career, and I kind of just have her set up as, I have her registered as self-employed, basically as the mayor's wife. So in my head, she basically spends a lot of her time like running, not fundraisers, but running, a lot of the, I guess, political, I don't know, gathering. I don't know what the word is that I'm trying to think of right now. But basically she spends a lot of her time party planning for Ted, and, helping him with, I don't know. My brain is currently just like blanking completely about what I wanted to say in regards to Meredith, which is so annoying. But basically, she spends her time party planning and planning events for the town. You know, basically just being a politician's wife, if that's just probably the easiest way to say it. So yeah, she spends a lot of her time just being a politician's wife, you know, attending fundraisers, attending events, planning them for the town, you know, all of that stuff. And then recently, obviously, she also has her nieces to take care of. So in my head, she used to be a food critic, but keeping up with, you know, her career and with everything that, you know, was required of her as Ted's, you know, wife, and as, you know, being she always had to like plan all of these events and stuff, and it was a lot to do both of those things. And then when her sister actually, you know, passed away and her nieces came to live with her, she realized that, okay, she's definitely not going to be able to like be everywhere and do everything. So she decided to quit her career, and now she just spends her time, you know, taking care of the house. She's really into gardening as well. So there's a garden outside in the back, and obviously, you know, she's into flower arranging, all of that stuff. So these days she spends her time, you know, taking care of the house, taking care of her garden, which is something she really loves doing. She also has gotten into writing, which in my head, you know, she always loved her career, but her passion was writing and gardening and all of that stuff. And she never had the time to do any of those things when, you know, she was, you know, working and, you know, having to plan all of these events and all of that stuff. So now that she isn't working anymore, she kind of has the time to dedicate to, you know, gardening and starting, you know, up writing again. And, you know, maybe that's why she has the office upstairs as well, obviously, is to do like a little bit of writing, to get a little bit of peace and quiet from the kids and do some writing. And then obviously, you know, taking care of the girls as well is definitely a full-time job. But yeah, so that's Meredith. And then we have Gwen, who's obviously the older of the two siblings, and she's very creative. I didn't give her the creative trait. I gave her the creative kid aspiration, but I gave her the gloomy trait because I thought that she's the one that really remembers her parents the best. In my head, you know, the girls have been living with Ted and Meredith for maybe like, I don't know, maybe 2 years or so. So in my head, you know, Bonnie, who's the toddler, is maybe like 5 at this point. She's maybe like 5 years old. So she doesn't really remember her parents. But Gwen really does remember her parents, and, you know, it kind of makes her a little bit sad a lot of the time. So I gave her the gloomy trait because of that. It's kind of the only way I could do that without just storytelling it and kind of make it an in-game thing. But yeah, so she has the gloomy trait, and she expresses herself a lot through her art. So she does a lot of arts and crafts. I think I gave her the with her likes and dislikes, I made her like, you know, playing the violin as well. I think I put a violin in the kids' playroom. Honestly, I can't remember for the life of me. But yeah, she likes, you know, music and arts and crafts, and she expresses herself that way, basically. So that's Gwen. And she's also actually going through a clingy phase. So this is something that I cheated. But with parenthood, the kids can go through phases, and the teenagers as well. But I actually have her going through a clingy phase where she's really attached to her aunt. And it's kind of like, it's a little bit morbid in my head, the story that I had for this. But in my head, she's kind of clingy and really attached to her aunt because of what happened to her parents. In my head, it was like a freak accident, maybe like a car accident or something like really sudden that had her losing her parents. But so because of that happening, she's now really attached to her aunt, and she's like, she doesn't want to lose someone else. But yeah, like I said, it's a little bit morbid. It's a little bit morbid for a Sim story, but I do try and make my like backstories and stuff for these Sims for my save as not necessarily realistic, but kind of realistic adjacent, if that makes sense. So yeah, I always tend to put a lot of thought into all of my Sim stories. But yeah, so that's Gwen, and then we just have Bonnie, who's the toddler, and like I said, she doesn't really remember her parents. she doesn't really remember them a lot. She's basically, most of her memories are with her sister and her aunt and her uncle as well, even though I don't really think Ted would be super involved in raising the kids, because they're not his kids, and in my brain basically, he doesn't, it's not that he doesn't like kids, he just doesn't have the time or the patience for them, if that makes sense. So a lot of, taking care of them and spending time with them is just stuff that Meredith would do, because they are her nieces and not technically Ted's. But yeah, so Bonnie also actually has the clingy toddler trait. So yeah, she's clingy as well. Both of these girls are very clingy. They basically, I thought that they wouldn't just be clingy to Meredith, they wouldn't just be super attached to her, but they would also be super attached to each other. So they really love each other, they really like spending time together. In my head, Bonnie follows Gwen around, like whenever Gwen goes somewhere, Bonnie like waddles after her and all of that stuff. So yeah, that was kind of what I was thinking about for this family. But yeah, I don't know, I've been rambling for so long, I can't remember what I've said and what I haven't. But yeah, we've started working on the outside. We're almost done with the like little pool area. There's a lot of stuff to do. There isn't a ton of kids play equipment outside, because yeah, in my head this house wasn't necessarily set up for kids from the beginning. It's kind of just stuff that they've added, like going on, as their nieces have lived here. They've lived here for around 2 years now, I think, in my head. So they've added a couple of things like the tent outside for them to play in, the little toddler slide, but they haven't added any big things like a monkey, like a climbing frame, or those big playground equipment things, or a swing set or anything like that. And then obviously, realistically speaking, having a pool like this just open with young children running around isn't the safest thing, realistically, but it's The Sims, so we're just going to ignore that fact. And yeah, we're just going to ignore that fact because they can't fall in anyway, so it's fine. But yeah, we started working on the pool house as well. The pool house is super simple. There's just a bar in here, basically, like I said, a couple of bookcases, a sofa, a like stereo, fish tank, that's it. And then we're going to move on to the secret basement. So yeah, you guys would have just seen like a little bit of a cut in the video, because I cut out me doing the layout for the basement, because I didn't want to spoil too much of the like secret part. But yeah, we're working on furnishing the office space for Ted. So because Ted is really here you guys can see a little bit of a sneak peek of the secret like lab type thing, which I just spoiled it completely. I can't believe I kept that in the footage. I can't believe I kept that in. I could have sworn I cut out everything, but apparently not. So yeah, you guys have just seen a little bit of a spoiler for that. But basically, because Ted is super involved in the whole StrangerVille conspiracy and all of that stuff, he has this whole like space downstairs where there's a bunch of files, and basically this is where, in my head, where he keeps all of his information, all of his incriminating information on everyone and everything. Because I figured that he does have the paranoid trait, by the way. He has the paranoid trait. That's something that EA gave him. So in my head, he is paranoid. He does have a space for like keeping tabs on everyone. He has one of those spy stations where he can listen into other people's conversations. He also obviously has a desk and a computer and all of that stuff. But this basement is basically where he just keeps track of all of his information, all of the secrets, and all of that stuff that he can use later on to further, the cause of whatever it is that's going on in StrangerVille. But yeah, so that's basically what this basement is supposed to be. And you'll notice the military medal racks. So in my head, those were things that both Ted earned, and also stuff that maybe his father or his grandfather earned as well. That's why there's that little picture up above it and all of that stuff. But yeah, we're coming to the end of this video, so I'm gonna wrap it up. I can't believe I've talked for 35 minutes. But I hope you guys enjoyed this build. If you did, give the video a like. If you're new to the channel and you'd like to see some more Sims content, feel free to hit the subscribe button, and remember to turn on the notification bell as well to be notified of whenever I upload a new video. But I hope you guys all I hope you guys are all having a great day, and I'm sorry this video is actually a day late as well. But I hope you're all having a great day and that you've had a great week, and I'll talk to you all in my very next video. Bye everyone!
As a young girl, the fields were mine. We played hide and seek for hours, raised our shadows among the pines. So offshore, playful and free, without a care in the world. I was one rich little girl, daydreamer, kidnap me, take me back, all the way back to them days, running around in a gown and a crown, barefoot. No mistake ever kept me late. We spent summers catching fireflies and winters on our skates. One big smile across my face. We used to dance our way to church on Sundays. Mama set the pace. Daydreamer, kidnap me, take me back, all the way back to them days, running around in a gown and a crown, barefoot. Daydreamer, kidnap me, take me back, all the way back to them days. Daydreamer, kidnap me, have me running around in a gown and a crown, barefoot. Have me running around, dressed in a gown, barefoot.
It was always on fire, our house, our dreams. We were dancing on a wire, reckless it seemed. We found holes in these walls, we like what we saw. Seems so strong until it falls, the final straw.